Vasavi, over to you.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Thank you.
So, hello everyone. So, today actually, this is more of a introduction to fire rather than implementation in new or something. Like, we'll be giving you a head start to start at least looking with fire, getting like hands on with fire, like how to work on it, how do we use it in our real time use cases and all. Yep. So more of that thing in this session. So yep, agenda will be like introduction to HL7. Like fire is from HL7. So not much more about HL7, but we'll be speaking more about fire today. So and we'll be discussing few challenges, and I would like to hear it from you people. And we'll be discussing few benefits of fire, few examples of fire, and a small demo, not huge one. So HL7. So yep. So it is a health level 7 standard, which is an ISO standard, which gives us a specific format to exchange healthcare data between two end systems. So this was like HL7 fire is implemented by HL7. So the main purpose of coming to fire is like HL7 was very rigid, and extensibility, flexibility kind of things are very tough in this. So they are coming up. So they came up with more. We can say like a flexible data model where we can add our customized data, I can say, more easily into a standard format. So coming to FHIR, FHIR stands for Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resources. So yeah, so this is a standard actually which healthcare data can be represented in the FHIR standard to be like for the data to be exchanged between multiple end systems. So the data can be of anything which is related to healthcare. It can be related to patients, caregivers, payers, financial data related to hospital, researchers, trials. Trial, I mean like a medical trial or something like that, which is everything related to healthcare system. So why fire is better? So yeah, as I was already speaking, this fire is fire standard. So when we go to examples, it will be really clear for you people to understand and correlate these statements. Yeah. So Fire, it is really fast and easy to implement data structure, and it is a readable. Like I can say that it is a JSON format, which is easy to read, easy to add, and everything. So it is interoperable. Like every Fire JSON is of a resource. I can say like Fire is made up of resources. So there are many resources. So suppose say consider anything like a patient. Patient is a resource in Fire. A visit plan. Visit plan is a resource in Fire. So something like that. Questionnaire. Questionnaire is a resource in Fire. So everything can be extended, everything can be constrained, and everything can be maintained very easily. Yeah, and it is really useful to be communicated in the RESTful architecture, as Fire is a readable format which can be in both XML and JSON. It is a human readable format, and it is free, like with no restrictions. So I would like to hear from you people, like what are the challenges in managing healthcare data? Yep, anyone?
Yeah, I think it's a very critical, right? So sharing the healthcare, I mean, see, patient data, it's our responsibility not, disclose their personal details. That is our challenge, right? So that is what
Yeah,
I could see from, right? Medical data, itself is very critical. we can't share that detail. So that has to be more protective in nature, right?
Yeah, yeah. And yep, anything else we can discuss on this?
Yeah, that's from my side.
Yeah, thank you.
So Vaishnavi, when we say this data is interoperable, right?
Yeah,
What exactly do you mean by that?
interoperability, it's like based on the use case. So suppose say you are dealing with a particular hospital and a particular set of resources, so you will be having your own set of restrictions, your own set of customized data, right? So someone else, some other party, or some other hospital, some third party, they'll be having their own set of rules, their own set of data structure, their own set of data, customized data. Like every data is not in a standard format, right? So FHIR, it gives us capability to actually extend the base resource and to add our customizations on it. So it can be handled, like the file can handle those extensions and those kind of things. So
So you're saying, is this a standard, right? Is it not a
yeah,
bridge? It's not a bridge between two data structures, right?
yeah, it is a standard actually, but we can create that bridge. We are speaking about that as well ahead. Like how do we create a bridge between two different resources, and what do you mean by a resource exactly? We'll be discussing that.
Okay, so what I mean is, so it has to be a standard. FHIR is a standard
Yeah,
among
it is.
all the, yeah, among all the medical institutions, and from that standard they can, inherit whatever their system needs, right?
Yeah, they can extend that, but that should be also a FHIR standard, like that. So suppose say you are extending a patient resource, so that extension should be a valid FHIR document, whichever you are creating it, something like that.
So where can you find all these details? Like what
Yeah,
are the FHIR? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll be sharing with you
Okay, okay.
the details. Yeah. So, yeah, as we spoke about the challenges, so a few of them I can explain you is like, so based on the geolocations, like different countries will have different kind of healthcare data, different level of detailing of healthcare data needed. So one cannot withstand with a single standard of healthcare information to be presented in a particular way. So we need, for sure, we need the flexibility or adaptation to every kind of a need for team. So the central challenge for healthcare standard is how do we handle that wide variability caused by really diverse healthcare processes. So FHIR solves this challenge by defining a simple framework for extending the existing resources and describing their use with profiles. So I'll be explaining you how do we extend the resources, how do we, so what do we mean by profiles and what is a resource. So these things will be seen ahead. So this is actually an example. I took this XML example, like ahead we'll be seeing JSON as well. So if you see the base, so I took a patient example. So here the patient can have like his name, his age, few details kind of things. So every resource, so patient is a resource here. Okay. So this can have metadata like when the record is last updated, and this is a human readable summary like what is the status the patient is generated. So these are all the standard values. So I'll go through you like I'll go through the standard website as well. I'll show you like where all you can find the leads to explore this topic more. If we see this is the extension, extension is like this is not in the standard FHIR, like not in the standard patient format, but we are extending it for our need. And these are like the standard data which are present, which is present for the patient resource. So going ahead, the overview. So every FHIR object is constructed with resources. So every resource is an independent entity in the healthcare system. Like as I mentioned, the patient, like anything, a visit plan, we can say a plan definition, patient questionnaire, anything can be a resource. Like almost there are around 150 different kind of resources which are developed by FHIR. So these things we have already discussed, I think. So this example, it is a similar example which I showed you. So yep, it says that there are currently around 145 different resources types defined in the FHIR specification. So yeah, as we already spoke, managing variability. So due to the geo different different locations needs different level of data to be stored. Like that variability can be handled by FHIR. So extensive, so extensibility. So when we talk about this, so if we say the patient is a base resource, which is a standard resource, but I wanted to enter something like something say the passport number or something say we want to get the details of some details which are not there in the FHIR standard, so we can, so even this extension is a FHIR standard, like we need to follow, these are the keywords or these are the data types which are defined by FHIR, so we should be abiding them, otherwise this will become an invalid FHIR.
Vaishnavi, do we have generic format for FHIR? Can you share that? Can you elaborate more
Yeah,
on that? Because it's a completely new topic. So just wanted to see that how FHIR looks like in generic term.
so you want to see a JSON.
Yeah, because you are giving examples, right? So I just wanted to
Yeah.
see how that looks.
So this
When
is
you're
this slide. Actually, go back to the slide, please.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ashish, if you see this, right, this resource
Mhm.
type patient, right, this is the file format.
This is the
Okay,
file format.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
this is how JSON looks like. I mean, this is a standard file format. Your data can look like anything. You can have your own entity and you can create your own objects. But when you convert this into a file resource, it has to look in this format. And
yeah, because yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. Because
yeah,
I saw XML also, right? Now I saw JSON also. That's what my point was, like where they're representing FHIR in JSON or XML, how it looks.
you can
So
have XML, you can have JSON.
JSON.
Definitely
Yeah.
will walk you through that documentation.
Yeah. I'll walk you
Whoever
through
that
the
person
topic.
is. Yeah.
yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so much.
So the FHIR thing, so it can be in JSON, it can be in XML as well. So that's the reason I just gave an example of both of them. I'll walk you through a particular resource type, so it will be more clear in the standard website of the FHIR. I'll go through that. So nesting resources. So nesting resources when it comes place exactly. So I'll explain you a use case. So what is a plan definition? Suppose say when we go to any hospital or something, so we'll be undergoing few what do we say that a few tests or something, right? So after that we'll be guided with a few more like like what are the next steps to be done, so what are the next steps to be taken, like what is the result of those things. So it is like a group of data, like different sets of data. So plan definition is a kind of resource which will help us in giving a plan to a particular patient based on the previous reports or something like that. So based on suppose say if you go to a hospital with some set of symptoms or something, so based on the test we'll be creating a plan definition to a particular patient, like what when is your next visit, so something like that, any data can be embedded into this. So based on that we cannot handle everything in a single resource, right? So this can have multiple resources attached to it. So suppose say I'm saying this as master visit plan for a patient. So we can have like content is a key which can hold on like different like multi like if you see, I'm nesting a plan definition inside a master plan definition. So if we see this plan definition, it consists of a visit form list. So it consists of like e-consent form, general form, so something like that. So I'm nesting this with this. So by doing this, I'll be having the entire set of data at one place. So this is an activity definition. This is also one more resource type. So what does activity definition mean? So activity definition is actually the implementation of a single plan, something like that. So what are the activities to be done? Something like that. So this is also possible with FHIR. So we can just nest all the resources and we can create an entire master plan for a patient.
Guys, any questions till this stage? No?
Okay, Shiva.
All right, guys. Just go ahead.
So I'll be explaining what all we can add with the resource. So resource is a base object of the FHIR. So it is an element. It has like element definition has many, like if we see here, every key is of a standard data type of the FHIR. So it is derived from data type. And I'll be speaking more about the constraints which comes under the profile in the next slide. And yeah, so when we saw this extension is there. So this code, even code is standard data type which is given by FHIR. So it cannot accept any values, like it cannot accept numbers, suppose say. So that kind of thing. So even it has code system has terminology, value sets has terminology, something like that. And the FHIR usage, it can be easily used with our REST API implementations because it's a simple JSON. We can really use it like it is really easy to use in REST APIs. So yeah, so when we are done with creating a FHIR, so we definitely need to validate the FHIR because it is a standard. We don't want to like we don't wish to exchange data in whichever format we want because it's a standard. So we need to validate our created FHIR object. So for that we have multiple ways. So FHIR validator, there is one jar which will be validating the FHIR, and there are many open source validation packages. They are available in Java, so we can use them to validate. So as for the question previously, so I'll just go through. I'll just walk you through the one of the resources at least it will be really clear for you. So if we see it, what is the plan? As we discussed the plan definition, so I just want to take this as an example. So it is a predefined group of actions to be taken in particular circumstances. So something like that, like a group of activity definitions, as we discussed. So if we see the JSON structure of it, so it is how this looks like. So the resource type is a plan definition, and every resource should have a unique identifier. Okay. So unique identifier is this one, and it should be having a URL, like it should be able to accessible via this URL. So yep, and almost all the resources will have the status, like whichever required. The status again, it is enum value, draft, active, retired for the plan definition. And there are many more fields, like we can just go through, like based on our requirement we can just go through all the fields, like we can just map our data with these fields and we can just create a FHIR object. So if we see action is an array of objects where we can add multiple actions to this plan definition. So at which time this action should be done, like if suppose say our visit is an action, so at which time a patient should be visited to hospital, and for how the frequency of a visit that can be added. So even this timing. So everything has some set of rules. So if we see these are the values which are accepted by this field. Again, if we go into them, even they are not a simple field. Again, they are like derived from multiple things. If we see period, it means like the start and the end date. So we can give for that particular visit what is the start time, what is the end time for that visit, something like that. So if we go on exploring the fields based on our requirements, so yep, it will be really useful for us. Coming back to the slides. So MuleSoft implementation, there is not much implementation, but I will show you like basic using the open Java packages, like how do we validate and how do we convert FHIR to JSON and JSON to FHIR. Both are like the JSONs itself, but FHIR is a separate standard which is of a JSON itself. So I have a project which is already done. So if we see, this is using the standard FHIR context, and like this is an open source package completely.
So before that, then, right? So there is no readily available or dedicated connector to convert that
Yeah,
data
yeah,
from JSON to FHIR, right? But there are a lot of resources available on Microsoft Exchange. If you go there and see, you will see that there are HL7 connectors. Now there are few APIs also, ready-made APIs which can convert your HL7 data to FHIR format. And also, so we did a meetup last year where we discussed HL7. I pinned the link on chat. If you want to learn more about HL7 first, you can go ahead and see what HL7 format looks like. It is more of a text format rather than a JSON format, right? And we have dedicated connectors to read and write HL7 data. But for FHIR format, we don't have really anything so far. But there are few APIs, ready-made APIs you can find in Exchange, which can give you some level of idea.
yeah. And while creating the endpoints as well, so we can directly use our okay, yeah, we can directly use the dependencies in our RAM. Like what you can do, suppose say your input to your endpoint is a FHIR resource. So you can define your type as a FHIR type. So those dependencies are available from MuleSoft itself. So suppose say you are using plan definition. So you can add the input type as plan definition by adding it in the dependency in the RAM section. So those are readily available, like they are given by MuleSoft itself. So your input will be validated with the plan definition actually. So those kind of invalid inputs can be like uh, what can we see? Fast erroring out can be done in that stage as well, Brahman. So I'm using these three dependencies here. Yeah. So I'll just okay. So validating is FHIR. So I just have one FHIR document with me, or otherwise I can take anything from the open source thing. So if I say this, so this is the one which is giving me all the warnings and informations, and if there are any errors, it will give me all the errors as well. So this is one way to validate the fire object, and I think I have one jar as well, like which will give more detailed level of validation. Yeah, this one. So this validator underscore CLI. Let's try this. So I have some resource type which is an auditive one. So let's try to validate that. So it will be loading all the HL7 resources. So even there are different versions of Fire. There is R4, R5. R5 is the latest one. So if we have to validate our resource with R4, so we can just give it out in our command itself. This will actually give a very detailed level of validation details, like the validation errors and everything. So this will be really helpful when you are actually in the development phase of your Fire object. Maybe the server is not available or something, so it will be contacting with this server, like this will be trying to fetch all the dependencies from this. Like I'll try to do it again as well. So this is a standard validator which is available online, like
Can
you
you
can
try
download.
opening from the? Can you open this command prompt as admin?
Because it is not about the issue with that, but it's trying to
I know that. Just let's try with that.
yeah.
You copy the wrong path
Okay,
actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
wrong path.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, click on the folder, any folder. Click on any
yeah.
folder.
maybe I'm not sure, this is very old one, but I can use something which I was using like very recently. Let's see if that is not working. I'll use something which I'm using. I guess it is not able to connect to this server itself. I'll try this, but whichever FHIR object you'll give to this validator, so it will be giving you all the errors, all the warnings, all the information present in that FHIR. So let's try to copy something from.
Vaishnavi, Suman here. I have a question.
Yeah.
So the thing is, we are discussing about this fire, but I was curious to know, like, in what sort of integration scenarios are we using this? I mean,
So
I know
yeah.
it is a healthcare, but then apart from and within healthcare, where are we using this? Or what type of integration scenarios?
Okay, so suppose say you are maintaining a healthcare system, like you are managing the healthcare system. So you will be dealing with patient data. You will be dealing with uh, what else? We'll be dealing with different things like different forms to be filled by patients or something like that. So when you are dealing with all these healthcare data, so they have to be in standard. So they have to be transferred between resources. Sorry, between different endpoints in some standard way. So suppose say you are creating a patient and you are trying to update that patient. So in this process, you are trying to get that patient details and you are trying to save that patient details. So in this transformation, we don't want any kind of data which is not in some acceptable standard.
So to extend to what Vaishnavi said, right? Whenever a patient comes to you, I mean, you being an organization who is dealing in hospitals and that kind of business, what happens? The complete life cycle, right? When the first time patient is visiting you or contacting you for consultation, from that time till the time he is attached or he is affiliated to your hospital, or till the time he's transferred to somebody else, right? Or you're referring him to somebody else, every record of that patient has to be stored in this file format. It's an overall thing. So even the first consultation, every visit, every medication, and all the records, healthcare records, all the tests, everything is stored in this format. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I'll tell you the reason I asked you this question is currently I am with a healthcare project, healthcare customer. So we are not using fire. So that's the reason I was trying to understand where are we using? Where can I go
So
ahead and
what do
suggest them?
you what do you use
what we
currently?
use?
How are you?
So our integration is on TIPCO. So in TIPCO we don't use fire, right? So
Mhm.
that's where I was trying to understand how can I integrate this, or is it there is a way we can pull it to where I mean propose this to the customer. So I was just trying to understand this part of it.
I understand. See, this is like dependent, right? This is dependent. This depends on the height and size of the business also, right? If
Yeah,
somebody is a small
small.
piece, right, then they might not go for that level of standardization because this will take some level of infrastructure resources to create those IT integrations and conversions and everything, right? Again, now I have been working for like 8.5 years, and most of it has been in healthcare domain. And I have worked with like huge organizations of healthcare, like United Health Group and then NHS UK, right? So they have that level of standard that they can do that. They have that money and resources available, right? But not every business would be able to do this because this will take a lot of effort, right? And the HL7 is a standard. It doesn't echo with just MuleSoft. It can go with anything. You can
Any.
develop your own custom code to do that.
Yeah. Okay. I got that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So you might be using some EDI data or HIPAA standards or something like that. Like there are many other things which are available, but like even I work with this is my second healthcare thing. So previously it was like completely in binary format, the data transformation between two interfaces, where again we need a lot of effort to convert it from the binary to the readable format, apply transformations on it, and convert again back to binary, and then to save it. Actually, it is the purpose of security as well. But yeah, I felt that this is much more easier to work with. So this actually, if we see that, so this one I wanted to show you that jar. It was not working. I think so. The server itself is the down. The terminology server. The server. This terminology server is like the server which will hold all the terminology details to validate it. I'll share these details as well. The FHIR validator. You people can like if you are trying to do that. Yeah, you can use this for sure because it is really helpful for me. Yeah. So this one I wanted to show you people like we have many things like FHIR questionnaire is also available. So here we are trying to convert a JSON to FHIR questionnaire, something like that. So we can just customize anything, everything. Like the packages are really open. Like we can just extend the things as per our need. So there is a small which I can show you. So this is a small JSON piece which I have it with me. So I'm just trying to convert it into a file standard. And I'm using the same output as the input with this. So this is getting converted to JSON. So something like that. It is really actually based on our requirement. What do we say? Our thing, like our customization. Everything depends on us. Like how are we trying to present our data to be more easily, like to be more easy to communicate between systems. So something like that. So any questions?
Come on, guys. I guess there should be a lot of questions around this. This is not an everyday topic. No questions? All right. I guess
So at least I hope that I just gave a kickstart to understand FHIR, and you people can start exploring if you have any use case on using FHIR. So I have discussed the advantages of using FHIR, challenges of handling healthcare data, some few challenges here. So extending the basic resources of FHIR. So we discussed these things. So yeah, thank you everyone for your time.
thanks, Ashmi. I guess that was a great start. Thank you so much. All right. Guys, if you still have any questions or if you have your questions later, feel free to reach out to me, right? All right. Sachin, you're on.
Yep. Am I
All right.
audible and visible?
Both.
Great.
So, guys, we have Sachin who will be talking about Snowflake today, and I guess there are two things, right, Sachin? Extracting data and pushing data to Snowflake.
Yeah, yeah. So we will cover two use cases today.
All right. So I guess okay. All right. Then let's go ahead and start. Sachin, over to you.
Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. Let me know once you guys are able to see my screen.
Yeah, we can see that.
Okay, so we are starting with the Snowflake integration with MuleSoft, or rather, we can say MuleSoft integration with Snowflake. So we'll be covering two use cases. Firstly, we'll try to insert the data in Snowflake, and then we will try to fetch the data from Snowflake. Okay. So before I start, anybody can tell what exactly this Snowflake is? I mean, what do you understand from Snowflake? Anyone, any guess or anything would be welcomed. Cloud data warehouse, correct? Any other?
So yeah, we can store unstructured, structured data. There is no limitation on the size of the data. Since name itself will tell you, right? It's a lake, so we can have. There is no limitation basically, and unstructured data also is supported by lake. That's what.
Right, right. So whatever is written in the chat or whatever you have told, everything is right. Let me go to the slide. We will see. One sec. Yeah, so Snowflake is nothing but, as mentioned in the chat as well, like you also mentioned, cloud based database, or we can say it is a data warehouse solution. Definitely it is a SaaS based solution, software as a service. So because it is a SaaS based solution, so it has its own benefit, right? Like we cannot we need not to have, hardware, be it virtual or physical, to install or configure or manage it, right? So these are few benefits, like see, we we need not to care about anything. We just have that login, username and password, and we can directly enjoy the Snowflake. So that is the beauty and benefit of Snowflake actually. So one sec. Yeah. Firstly, see, like I said, we will be covering two use cases. One is the data insertion, and one is the data extraction. Okay. Before getting into those use cases, firstly we will check what exactly this Snowflake is and how we can configure the Snowflake to use with MuleSoft. So firstly we will try to create the username, or we can say we can create the account with Snowflake. Let me go through those slides first. Okay. So this is the URL to sign up on Snowflake. Let me just go there. One sec. Yeah. So it is loading. Yeah. So if I go to this particular URL, it will generally, like we used to sign up on any of the sites. So it is asking for the basic data like first name, last name, email, company, and the country. And once key in all these details and click this continue button, you will get an email to like for any other account we are creating. So we used to get the email like you need to validate your email whether you are the one or not. Okay. So we'll get that email. uh One second, I'll show you one thing. Yeah. So this is the email actually. Just check it. This will have the activation link and one individual URL. This URL is very important whenever we are integrating MuleSoft or any other platform with Snowflake. So this particular individual URL is very important. Let me show you that email, that what I got. Yeah. So this is the email. Just check. I got my username. Okay. And also I got the account URL. This particular URL is very specific to you. I mean, suppose Shiva is creating his own Snowflake account, so he will be getting some other URL. So this URL is specific to your organization or the individual. So this URL will be
used for any kind of interaction with your Snowflake account. So this we need to take care while interacting with Snowflake using MuleSoft. So let me go again there. Yeah. So now we have done the sign up process. Now we have that username, we have that account URL. Now we will try to log in into the account and we'll see how Snowflakes looks like. Okay, let me click on this. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this will be the home page of Snowflake whenever we log in or into the Snowflake. So this particular screen will be visible to us. Now, now we are logged in into the Snowflake, so we can create, our entities. Entities like we can create the database, we can create the table, we can create the columns, we can insert the data, we can extract the data directly from Snowflake. Obviously we will go for the use cases with MuleSoft as well, but for now, just to set up the things, I'm just telling you how we can do that. Okay, so if I go there on Snowflake, yeah, so on the top you can see one database is there, right? Database, shares, data marketplace, warehouse. So if I go to database, this is the place where you can create your own database. Actually, like I created this particular database using this particular link, like create database. You can give any name, and accordingly you can create it. I have already created this database. If I go back to the database, yeah, this one is already created for me. Okay, yeah, fine. Yeah, after that, like I created one table. Like this is very very simple. Like you can create, if you know MS SQL or Oracle or normal SQL query, so you can you can easily create the database, you can easily create the tables, you can directly insert the data or fetch the data. Like I created this, sorry, let me just run it. Yeah, you see, I created this this particular database, this particular table, and which is having these many data. I inserted this particular information. So if I go to the slide again, guys, if I'm going too fast, just let me know. I can slow it down. Now, hey guys, I'm audible. Okay, okay, all right, that's fine, that's fine. Okay, so now we have created the database. Now we have this one. We have created the table as well. Like the table, to create the database, create the query to create the table is just simple query like create table, table name, and then we can add the column and their data types and length wherever applicable. And likewise, I have inserted few data. Let me just show you. Yeah, so this data I have already inserted, and this I have shown like how we can select the data. Now this is very simple thing, like we are trying to insert the data into sales into the Snowflake, right? Just a second. Yeah, so before we move ahead, just make sure you make a note of these particular things. Like you have role sysadmin, you have this warehouse compute underscore wh. Now you have the database name, and this is the schema. Also, like whenever you are giving this information having this information over here. This information will be used whenever we are interacting with any system, like we will be interacting Snowflake with MuleSoft, right? So this particular information is being used in the configuration, so there it will be required. So let me go to the next slides and we will get the idea how we will fetch the data or how we will insert the data. Okay. Yeah. So now what we have done, we have, Snowflake database created, table created, data insertion is also done, right? Now we want to insert the data using MuleSoft, or we want to fetch the data using MuleSoft. So how we can do that? Before I go to the next steps, do you guys have any question till now so that we can discuss? Anyone?
No, Sachin, nothing.
Okay, okay, that's great. All right, let me move ahead then. Yeah, okay. So see, you can say that this is a simple database, right? I mean, obviously it is a cloud database, so we can directly, do the operations, whatever database operations is, using the database connector approach. Yes, we can definitely do that. We will go through that too. But before that, we will insert the data into Snowflake using the Snowflake connector approach, because Snowflake is giving us one connector to connect using Mule 3 and Mule 4 both. Actually, we will go with the Mule 4 approach. Okay. So before that, we need to configure that particular connector, because that particular connector is not provided in the palette. So we need to install that particular connector first, and then we can, use that particular connector. So let me go step by step. So first one is we need to download the Snowflake connector using this particular link. Let me go to this link. Wait. If you see, Snowflake is providing these many, connectors, or these many things where we can connect with JDBC, ADO.NET, Python. Like one is Mule, so that we are interested in. So Snowflake is providing one connector for MuleSoft. If we download this, it will give the connector for Mule 3 and Mule 4 both. We just need to install that connector into our system. Okay. Let me just show you that particular. Yeah. So if I go there, so this is the connector actually. Okay. So I just unzip that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So if I unzip, we need to run command for, adding the licensing information, as in one license installer jar is written, I mean, it is provided in with the connector. So we need to install that. We need to give some credential to that, what like who is going to use that. Okay. Now, as you know that we are not having, or I'm not having the Snowflake licensed key, right? So I'll be using the trial key. Okay. So let me just show you there. I and yeah, if I press enter, it will ask me a few details. Okay. Now it will ask me for the product key, because we are not using the licensed one, so I can use the trial one. Okay. So if I press enter for trial, the licensing information will be installed in my system for this particular connector. Okay. So I have already done that. So let me go to that slide what it will show. Okay. Now you have installed that particular Snowflake connector, you have installed the licensing information into your system. Now you have to install the actual connector into the Anypoint Studio. Okay, so now you can do, you open the pom.xml file and add the dependency and just restart the studio. Let me show you what I have already added. Okay. One sec. Yeah, this one actually. Okay. And while there is a catch over here. While installing any dependency, you need to be sure about the version, whatever licensing information you have installed in your system. Let me tell you from where you can get this particular version. When you download this Snowflake and extract it, you will get the connectors, right? So this is Mule 4 connector and this is Mule 3 connector if you go inside, but we are interested in Mule 4 connector. So here you have this version is written 20.0.7654, right? So this particular dependency you can directly add over here, and you just need to restart sometime, because sometime what happens in Anypoint Studio is it asks for restart after installing anything and using the dependency, right? So you can do that. Okay. Let Yeah. Okay, so this is how you can add the dependency. Just make sure you added the correct version, otherwise it won't get added. And once you do that, you will be able to see the Snowflake connector and its dependency into the palette. Let me just show you.
Sachin, you
Yeah.
ran from command line. That means you have installed this connector into M2, right? Local
Yes,
repository.
yes, right, right.
Okay. I
Yes,
thought like you're adding licensing part. No, but after this, I think it's installed
yes.
in M2, right?
Right.
Got it.
After this, it installed in the M2, and then you need to add the dependency into your studio. That's it.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. 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 Right. Okay. So let me just show you the palette. Okay. So you can see this one, C data Snowflake. So one second. So these many operations they are giving: bulk delete, bulk insert, bulk update, delete, insert, list column, list table, select, store proc, and update, right? So now we will be using the insert operation to insert the data into Snowflake. Okay, this way. Let me just go there. Yeah, so I drag this. I'll show you this complete flow after these particular slides. Okay, fine. So now make sure you have these information available to you, uh, so that you can connect to Snowflake database using Snowflake connector. So this is database name that we have created in Snowflake while creating those entities. Like we created the database table and inserted few records. So this is that database. The username, this is the one you got from the email. Like you got the activation link, you got the username, you got the account URL. So this username is the one you got from the email. Password you need to set while you are setting up your account, so that particular password. Now next one is account URL. Account URL, as I said, it is specific to you. If anyone else is creating the Snowflake account, so the account URL will be specific to that person or that organization, whoever is creating. Okay, the warehouse is a compute underscore wh, and schema is public. Like I already told you, these information we need to keep handy while connecting with Snowflake. You can check these information over here. Like we have the warehouse compute, right? This is the database, this is the schema. So these information we need to keep handy, because these are the information going to get used while configuring the Snowflake connector information. Okay, so I'll go to that. Yeah, I'll show you this part. I'll show you this part. Okay. Yeah. Now, if you drag any operation, like I dragged insert operation, so it will ask for the configuration definitely. So you need to add those information. Like in this particular slide, it has been shown like database is there, then password is there, some key if you want to pass, otherwise you can leave it as blank, schema, url, then user, then warehouse. So these are the basic information that are required for any connection while using with Snowflake. Okay, so I already did that. I'll show you. Okay, yeah. Okay, later you can this is the insert operation actually, like you must have done for database connector as well, like you are having many queries, insert query, select query. So likewise you can have the insert query with Snowflake connector as well. Like I already did insert into names. Names is my table name, okay, that I have already created. Values and some dynamic value I'm giving. Obviously here it is hard coded, but actually just to showcase how we can pass the dynamic value, we can have it from the payload, or we can pass it from the client from where we are calling. Okay, so this is the Snowflake connector approach using the insertion. Okay, now let me show you how I did it. Okay, so I dragged this insert operation over here. Okay, let me just show you the configuration. Yeah, so this is the Snowflake configuration. Let me show you in the full screen. Maybe. Yeah, so the database name over here, what else is required, the password. Okay, the key, it is up to you, like you want to pass it or not. It can be passed or it cannot be for now. Okay, schema, as I showed you in the Snowflake UI, the last one is schema public. Okay, the URL, this one is, as I said, is specific to the user only. Okay, and this is the username, like I created my username. This is the warehouse, this is also was visible on the UI. And other than that, I haven't passed any detail. I mean, up to you how you want to perform, like timeout, there are many things you can add. Like, see, there are plenty of information over here, right? So these are the basic information you would be needing to connect to the Salesforce database, oh sorry, Snowflake database, I'm really sorry. Okay, so if I click the test connection, let's see. Yeah, test connection is successful. Let me close it and show you the query that I have used for this particular flow. Okay, the one I was showing in the slide as well. So this is the query that I was referring to, like insert into names, the table name. Okay, and values. And yeah, one more thing I forgot to mention while creating this database. Whenever you are creating any table in Snowflake, just try to create in the double quotes only. I mean, if you create this table like this, you would be able to create over here, but while passing it from MuleSoft automatically adds the double quote over here, so it won't recognize your table name. So just to avoid that, or just to overcome that, what I did while creating the table name, I added the double quotes over here, so that whenever we are connecting from MuleSoft, it won't create any problem. Okay, so here we are passing only the names only, but whenever it is going to Snowflake, it is automatically adding that double quotes.
So that's a bug from Mulesoft side, or Snowflake is not able to handle it.
mm, no, MuleSoft is adding that particular thing actually, because I tried with creating this particular table without double quotes and with double quotes. With quotes it worked fine, but without double quotes it is not able to recognize that any such name.
No, so when this query is fired, right, it goes as a string only, right? So I mean, I don't think there should be any codes that are coming in.
No. I tried this particular thing, names one. Okay. So when I send this particular information, it sends with insert into, like, let me show you. Sends like this. And then whatever value.
Where do you see that? How do you see that this is the statement?
This information I see when I try to insert the data in the table which is having the name, the name without double quote, and it says that it is trying to send this information, and it is not able to find actually.
No. So if you understand it from a very basic level,
Or we can try it later, no problem.
no, I'm just asking. I mean, why would that happen? I mean, that should ideally not happen because anything which is going as a query that should go as a string rather than. I mean, we should not be considerate about having codes or not, right? Because everything is going as a string, and that query is fired over Snowflake, and how Snowflake is handling it. That is the question that I ask.
Okay, Snowflake is, see, okay, let me just go there. Let me just go to the Snowflake. Okay, Snowflake, these two are different table actually. For Snowflake, these two are different table.
Why would that be? I mean, just to if I am just a beginner, right, and I start learning Snowflake, and if I have some comparison from Oracle, which I have, this I cannot relate to this. I mean, this is something which is not correct, right?
Yes, you are right. I'm not sure from which side this bug is. It is from the Snowflake or MuleSoft.
When
I'm
you
not
say that
completely.
these two things, I mean, select
Yeah.
start from codes names and then without the codes, right? These are two different things for Snowflake. What
Yes.
if you fire this query? If you fire both, what is the result?
Okay, because this particular table is not yet created actually. It won't.
Oh, so it will not give any result. You're
Yeah,
saying. So should Snowflake not be restricting this to not create
Yes,
a
it
table
should.
class?
You're right. You're right. It should. It should restrict, like it should, like ideally these two names are same. If we consider these two names are same, so it should restrict definitely.
Yeah.
But as I tried, it worked only with this one,
Mhm.
not with this one. So that's why I told you that particular tip. Like it should have that double quotes in the names.
All right. No worries. Go ahead.
Thanks. Okay. Let me go.
So Sachin, I have one question.
Mhm.
What is the difference between this Snowflake and Salesforce?
Snowflake and Salesforce.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
Snowflake is purely a cloud database only, but Salesforce is not limited to that. Salesforce is it has its own many components like LWCs. There are many things. It is not limited to data storing only, but Snowflake is limited to data storing, but it leverages the the capability of software as a service, so that's why it is so popular.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, shall I move it? Okay, considering this yes. Okay, yeah. So now till this point we have done, we have used the Snowflake connector, and also we have configured to insert the data into Snowflake, right? Now as I said, if I go to one of the previous slides, yeah, this one. So we have another approach, database generic connector approach, like we used to connect different other database, Oracle, MySQL, MS SQL, right? So likewise, we have database connector as well, that. So we will be covering another use case, that is extraction of data using the database generic connector approach. uh, Before Snowflake connector, there was only database connector which we could use to connect to the Snowflake database, but now we have the Snowflake connector as well. So it is up to you how you want to use, whether you want to use the Snowflake connector or you want to use the generic database connector. I'll show you both. Like the first one, as I showed you, this is for the insertion. Next one, we will go with the database generic connector approach, and that will be to extract the data from Salesforce, to fetch the data from Snowflake. Yeah. Yeah. Now, this one. Let me go to AnyPoint Studio. Yeah. This is the this is the select operation.
Certainly,
Sorry.
sorry to interrupt. I just had some curiosity over. So this connector which we are using for insertion, right? And as we say that Snowflake is a cloud data warehouse, right? Data warehouse
Right.
means huge data, right?
Right. Right.
Right. So if I like, there's a table which is like 25 GB in size or something, right? And if I
Mhm.
fire a query which fetches around like 10 million records, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm not sure if you have tested this, or I'm not saying that you might have done that. I'm just out of curiosity, I'm asking that will
Please,
the
please.
connector be able to fetch that kind of data?
Okay, so you are asking like, let me rephrase it.
Mhm.
You have, plenty of records in Snowflake because it is a cloud database. It can have millions of data.
Yes.
So can this connector or can this select connector fetch all the data into MuleSoft, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what I can say is, yeah, I mean, we can do that. We can definitely do that. But like, that if we are handling this much data in MuleSoft, we need to handle that particular data in a separate way, be it batch processing or any other way, right? So that we need to take a different handle in MuleSoft.
Mhm.
I haven't tried with this much data, definitely. Okay.
Okay. All right. Because we are dealing with a data warehouse, and data warehouse
But
always means,
yeah, yeah.
right?
As far as I know, we can have that data in MuleSoft, but we have to handle that data in a different way using the other components of MuleSoft.
That's right. But on a generic note, it's like we, because when the data is huge, there are chances of things failing more often, right?
Yes, there are chances. Yes, we need to handle those things in transaction or whatever.
Yeah.
As far as I know, Snowflake can store 2 TB of data. Obviously, that depends upon licensing of as well, like
When you
what kind
say
of license.
when you say it can store 2 TB of data, is it
Yeah.
specific to a table, or you are talking about the overall capacity of it?
Overall capacity of a particular instance. Like I have created my instance.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure, obviously in trial account they won't leverage this much data to be stored, right?
Right.
But for a simple license, 2 TB of data can be stored. Overall data, not in a single table, overall data.
I mean, any idea on licensing? I mean, where exactly it
Hmm.
starts with the basic level of license? Because, I mean, to be honest, 2 TB is nothing. Okay, 2 TB is nothing when you talk about it.
Maybe yeah, maybe that 2 TB of data will be provided to very simplest or the first level of license. Maybe I'm not sure because I haven't gone through the licensing information of Snowflake
That's
yet.
fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Shall we go ahead?
Yes, if nobody has any questions so far, I guess we can go ahead.
Yeah, all right, that's great, that's great. Okay, so yeah, next approach, as I was telling, DB connector approach. Now we want to extract the data from sales Snowflake. I'm really sorry if I'm saying Salesforce because I'm using Salesforce much in my integration, so that is I'm used to actually. So pardon me for that. Okay, so now we have the select operation of generic DB connector. Like most of the guys must be knowing about this particular connector, DB connector, right? So here again the information is required. This is again that particular account URL. As I told you, this is specific to user or the organization. Now again, the username, the password, the database, and the schema. So now we need to make a URL while uh, connecting to Snowflake using the DB connector approach. Okay. uh, we need to have the account name, user, password, database, and schema. Let me just show you over there. One sec. Yeah. Yeah. This. One sec. This got added extra. Okay. So if I added this, yeah. So this is the URL actually. Like we have to have the URL like this way only, like JDBC Snowflake. Obviously we need to have the driver. I'll show you how we can add the driver as well. Okay. So this is the URL that I was talking about. This is the username. Next is password, then we have the database name, then we have the schema. So this information we need to pass just to make this URL. Okay. Now we have driver class name as well, like for JDBC we have this net.snowflake.client jdbc.snowflake driver. We need to add next username and password we need to pass again. Okay. Sorry. Yes. Now we have to add the Maven dependency for the JDBC driver of Snowflake. Okay. Like from this screenshot, you can check like add Maven dependency. You need to add the group ID, artifact, version. These many information you need to add, and once that is done, driver is added. You can check for the connection. Fine. And next is yeah. Let me show you over there as well. If I go to, this is the simple query, like we are checking with select star from names, right? And what else? Yeah, we can try this. I mean, let me just try to run this in debug mode. Okay. So that you will get the idea what exactly we are getting. Okay. And before it builds and deployed, let me go to Snowflake. Yes. So just want to show you how many names we have in the table right now. We have 5 rows, right? So 5 names are there. Okay. So these names are already inserted. Okay. Let me check what I'm inserting over here. It'll be a repeated name. Let me just wait. One sec. Yeah, I think it is running already. Yeah, it is taking time to run. Let's check. Meanwhile, if you guys have any question, please go ahead. Yeah, it got deployed actually. Okay. So like as we checked, we have 5 rows for now. Okay. Let me just run it from Postman. Yes, definitely. Yeah, for now it has 5 records. For now we have inserted 1 record, right? So let me just go to this one, rerun it, just check whether it got inserted or not. Yeah, it got inserted, but I think that name it hasn't taken. So I need to, I guess, stop and rerun again. if we fetch the information, yeah, it is fetching all these 6 names, but let me just rerun one more time why it did not inserted the this name. It will insert now actually,
So
because
we
I
have a question, Sachin. The
yes,
question
yes please.
uh, from Sai Krishna, and the question is that can we apply caching strategy to Snowflake connector?
Snowflake connector, yes, we can apply. I haven't tried, but I think we can apply. Definitely we can apply. Do we have any other question? As we know, database connector is having transaction support by default in Mule. It's Snowflake also support transactions. Snowflake need to check. I'm not sure whether Snowflake provides the transaction support or not. I haven't checked that option. I need to check. I'll get back to you. Okay. I'm not sure whether it supports by default the transaction support or not, like the database connector. Any others?
Question from Sarika and
Mhm.
says that can you create a table name with double quotes, customer space names?
Okay. Just a minute. Yeah. What was that? Double quotes?
Sarika is there or not? She was there. Hold on, let me. Oh, she's here again. Sorry. Sarika, you there?
Send me the table name that you wanted to create.
I'll ask her to allow her.
Okay. Okay. Meanwhile, let me run it again. Okay.
Sarika, can you hear me? I guess she's away from the system or something. Yeah, table name is customer space names.
Like this.
Yes.
Yes. It is created actually.
Sure.
Yeah. So now we try to add one name. I already run it actually. So the name I have given is Kunal. So Kunal got inserted into the table. Let me just remove this for now. Yeah, if I run it, so it got inserted, right? And in the same instance, I'm fetching the information. Yeah, if I check over here, I have already, I am converting into the JSON and sending it back to the Postman actually. So I'll run it. Yeah. So one sec, my system is stopped actually. Yeah, gone. Yeah, now we have all these information. Whatever we have inserted, these records were already inserted. This we have inserted in the first iteration. This we inserted in the second iteration, and now we are getting all the records from the DB connector approach while extracting the data from Snowflake. So I think that's it. Yeah. So do you guys have anything that I can answer, or we can discuss further on the Snowflake or anything? Could you please come again? What was that? Anyone, please? Awesome question.
There is one question. Yeah. Yeah.
Can we execute multiple queries in a single call? Yes, definitely, Bipin. We can execute multiple queries in single call, because whatever we can do in using the database connector, we can definitely do with the Snowflake connector as well.
And Praveen has been asking, it is the second time he is asking the same thing. There was an Okta configuration in the configuration. What is that?
Was it? Let me just go to that. Praveen, I'm sorry, I don't see any Okta configuration over there. Was it there?
I don't think I also noticed.
Yeah,
Not sure.
not sure, man. In connector config, there is Okta option. Okay, so okay, in this one you are saying.
Open the configuration.
Yes, that's what I'm doing. It's take. Yes, this one. Okay. This one you are saying. Okay, Okta MFA provide. Like this is like you want to have Okta configuration in place while connecting with their Snowflake database. Then only you would need this particular thing. But I haven't tried this, frankly speaking. Not completely sure how it would work over here, because I have used the default option. It was already there, like Okta default, so I haven't used it.
Again, this is more of authentication related only because multi-factor authentication provided, right? MFA.
Right,
Not sure
right.
about. Okay, but
Yeah.
of course something related to I guess configuration on. So there will be a page of this documentation, right, for Snowflake connector.
Yes.
Yeah, you should find it there.
Yes. Or you can have talks.snowflake.com also is there. You can have more things over there.
Do
Yes.
they describe the Mulesoft connector over there?
They let me just go to for MuleSoft. They have given this information only. Like you can have these things.
Okay.
If I let me just ping you this particular URL. Anything else, guys? Yeah. Thanks, Praveen.
All right. Are there any questions, guys? If not, we can go with the trivia quiz session. No? Okay. Sachin, do you have, can you ask 2 questions?
Yeah.
Possible?
Okay.
And so the rules will be the first one to answer on the chat will be considered the winner for that.
Okay, Shiva, so should I ask or should I type? What do you say?
Yeah, you can rather ask.
Okay, so guys, okay. First one, how many ways